Today, I want to talk about something. I'm still involved in farming to the extent you can. And by the way, John Tester, I think, still drives the tractor in his spare time. And other than things like WOTUS and maybe things out of your jurisdiction, I've, over the last 6 months to a year, heard a topic the farming community and farmers are worried about, and it would be foreign ownership of land. In its report that I have right here, the GAO made 6 recommendations that would help USDA modernize the APHIDA process, make the most of the data it collects, and collaborate better with our national security agencies. Madam Chair, I'd like to submit this into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. According to the GAO, the current APHIDA system is not meeting the mark to fully monitor foreign ownership and penalize non-filers. I have simple legislation, the APHIDA Improvement Act, with John Tester, Senator Tester, as the co-lead. 14 Republicans, 9 Democrats on it, including Madam Chair. I believe that this bill is low-hanging fruit. It should be the next step that Congress takes in addressing the foreign ownership of agricultural land. Do you agree that this would be a good bill to get through the process?
Senator, it'd be a very fine bill to get through the process, but I don't think anybody should be fooled that this somehow is going to result in a significantly better system. And the reason I'm saying that is that we basically have today an honor system. We have a self-reporting system. And so if you are not an honorable person, you may decide not to report. And there are over 3,000 county recorder's offices where you could potentially file a deed and no one know about it. So unless there is some kind of central database, which I don't think folks are really excited about, of listing all of the real estate transactions that take place in this country, you've got an honor system. And if you're okay with an honor system, improving it, these are absolutely right things to do. But don't fool yourself into thinking that somehow this is going to result in a full and complete understanding of foreign ownership.
Did you look at the GAO's recommendations?
I understand. Yeah, absolutely. But they've got nothing to do, they really don't do much in terms of the self-reporting aspect of this issue.
So if the bill were amended to take care of self-reporting, would that be what you'd need to see to make it more effective?
That would be a way of ensuring that you actually were getting the information that you
that's
seek.
why we have hearings, to take a good bill and make it to where
but I'm telling you,
it might be better. If that happened, would you be okay with what?
I'd be fine with it, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to find people not very excited about the notion of a national database where every real estate transaction that takes place in this country is going to be in the federal government's purview. But that's the problem with these issues is it's so easy to sort of demagogue them. I'm saying you do, but it's a self-reporting system. So if you don't want to report, you take your chances.
Well, I think it's something that we could probably do to where it wouldn't end up having to be a national database, to where you could find it and just preempt it in some fashion. So,
and make sure that when you're doing that if it's an LLC or an LLP, that you have the ability to look into and go deeper.
Because they can hide the true owner through that. That's true.
Then the question is, well, how much of an ownership interest are you concerned about? What if it's a 1% ownership interest? Is that?
Well, I think we ought to be smart enough in this body, with the help of a great agency, to get to the bottom of who is owning ground and not be deterred by the fact that it might be hard to do. I think that's what I'm after. I'll take that into consideration and see if we can work with you on the specifics to get that to where it would be a good product that you think that would work. So on another issue I hear a lot about would be Prop 12. That has probably got producers in many places in a quandary between what they're currently doing in their own operations and what they may have to do to be relevant in other markets. Hoosier farmers, I think, have been torn between the investment that they may have to make. Some may choose to do it in terms of things that are happening in California. It may be opportunities, but for many, it's an area of concern. And my concern is that you don't want to homogenize things across the country. There may be a good idea there. What do you think about what's happening along the lines of that in terms of how it's got producers worried about if their investment's going to be irrelevant because that might cascade across the country?
Yeah, I think the Supreme Court, when it made its decision that this did not violate the Commerce Clause, didn't fully understand the hog market. Because I don't think hog producers have as much choice as the Supreme Court seemed to think they did in determining that this was not a violation of the Commerce Clause. The reality is this decision that's the Supreme Court has issued opens up the opportunity literally for all 50 states to do this in one form or another. So it could potentially be quite difficult for producers to understand precisely what to do and how to do it. The reaction that I'm having at USDA, the only thing we can do is to make sure that we're building out the local and regional food system so that producers who choose not to participate with large packing facilities that do business in California have an alternative.
Well, I think the concern has to be that we don't let one state be kind of a shadow regulator, that this place is going to reflexively, look at it and declare it the new standard. Not saying we're doing it. A lot of people are concerned about it. On the other hand, we don't want a good idea to be suppressed. Yeah, so
that's the challenge.
Yeah, and I think that's something that looks like it's going to be more out there than not. And a lot of this stuff has been originating there, sweeping across the country, and I think we got to be careful that it's not the tail wagging the dog.
Well, there are other issues also that intersect in this discussion that are also challenging.
Thank you. I'm out of time.
Thank you very much.